Democratic presidential candidate Andrew Yang on how his unconventional route on the campaign trail could land him in the White House.
So you know who made a preemptive strike about this whistleblower's complaint at a press conference yesterday. Take a look.
They're getting hit hard on this witch hunt because when they look at the information, it's a joke. Impeachment for that? I think you should ask for VP Pence's conversation because he had a couple of conversations also. I could save you a lot of time. They were all perfect. And when you see little Adam Schiff go out and lie and stand at the mic, smart guy, by the way, stand at the mic and act like he's so serious. And then he goes into a room with Nadler and they must laugh their asses off.
Is he awake?
Did he
like he's
just throw
sleepwalking.
Mike Pence under the bus?
Yeah.
Did he just like lob it and then roll him like a bowling ball?
Yeah.
And then,
Kind of.
I mean, what the?
Well, he has to feel the pressure and understand the gravity of this.
Right.
I've never, to my knowledge, I haven't seen Ivanka Trump tweet a lot of overtly political things, and she put a tweet out with a picture of her father saying something like, "Thank you, we love you, Mr. President," or the support for Mr. President. This feels different to a lot of people because the main question, and the show isn't nearly long enough for us to delve into this,
Right.
but was there a quid pro quo that happened with President Trump's phone call with the president of the Ukraine? Did he say, in exchange for information about Joe Biden and his son, Hunter Biden, I will give you money, the money that Congress, by the way, had already approved?
Yeah.
This is the main basic question of what's going on.
Don't forget that what Michael Cohen said, that the guy...
I don't care about Michael Cohen.
Wait a second, let me make the case.
Okay.
Michael Cohen said that Trump speaks in code. So think of the Godfather movie. When the guy comes with whose son, the Godfather wants the Undertaker to take care of his son.
Right.
And he says, and someday there's going to be a favor I'm going to ask you. It's like that. It's more like that. And that's why...
I would prefer to just be in the now. Right, because this is very serious, and I had a lot of anxiety yesterday, and I was texting with Abby all day.
Right.
I think most Americans have anxiety about what's going on because this is historically unprecedented.
Yes, it's true. But you know what? It's not that unprecedented.
No.
Because Nixon was forced to resign because of an abuse of power.
This is still different in the sense that you're talking about bartering with a foreign entity for information about a political adversary.
Well, that's the one little extra thing.
But it is still a paradigm. Please, Abby, feel free to jump in on this.
Well, everything about his presidency is unprecedented. We haven't been here before. I think the American people are struggling right now to figure out exactly what's going on. It's frankly, I went on Twitter for 5 minutes yesterday. It felt like a war zone. It was a big mistake. The country is not in a good place politically. And you're exactly right. You got to figure out where the money part of this whole equation. And if that money was held over their head, can I just mention though, because he threw Pence under the bus in that moment, but also Joe McGuire, who's DNI, who we've been watching all morning.
Right.
My heart broke for him. He has served this country for his entire life. He was in that job for like 4 days when this happened. He's now been there about 5 weeks. The exchange he had with Adam Schiff was very uncomfortable for me. He did not want to be sitting there. He didn't do anything wrong. All he said was, I followed protocol.
Well, he was supposed to hand it over. No, he was supposed to hand
You think he had a bad intention,
whistleblower's
though?
complaint over to Congress, and instead he went to the White House and to the Attorney General and said, "What should I do?"
But do you think he knowingly did that, thinking that it was the wrong thing to do?
Well, he didn't follow protocol. It said, "You shall hand it over to Congress." He didn't do it.
Right before we came on, literally right as we were walking out, Adam Schiff had to clarify that in his opening statements, he had a, quote, parody of the summary of the president's transcript.
We got that.
But I, for one, I would like someone other that isn't so partisan running this, because I think the American public, at least conservatives, don't trust Adam Schiff, and this is very serious.
You know what? I don't trust any of them.
You
I don't trust any of them. I'm just going to say it, and I'm going to tell you.
But
I'm just going
somebody
to
in
have
Congress is going to have to run this, and I know none of us
I'm going to say why. Because I listen to Nevins, I listen to Adam Nunes, or whatever his. I can't watch him. You know,
Nunes.
Here's the bottom line. Did he make the phone call? I know.
Gotta go.
But, you know, there's 4 of us now, and there's still no time.
Yeah.
You give us 3 minutes to do these topics.
You know what? Here's what we'll do. When we come back, I'll finish my statement.
Yeah, right. Good idea. Welcome back.
Welcome back. It's time for today's Hispanic Heritage Month, FYI. Megan?
Yes, I'm so excited. So today we honor civil rights activist, labor leader, and fellow Arizonan, Cesar Chavez. Born in Yuma, Arizona to a Mexican-American family, Chavez worked as a manual laborer and served his country in the Navy before relocating to California, where he helped laborers register to vote as a member and later leader of the Community Service Organization. In 1962, he put the struggle of farm workers on the national spotlight as co-founder of the United Farm Workers Union, which forced farming executives to recognize the UFW as the bargaining agent for 50,000 field workers in California and Florida. Mr. Chavez's nonviolent and effective tactics have made him one of the foremost Latino American civil rights leaders in all of American history.
Wow. Right.
Bravo. So, what were you going to say?
Now I forgot what I was going to say.
I know what was I? Where were we? I agreed with you. You said you don't believe anyone right now because we heard from Adam Schiff, who started out, as you said, Megan, very partisan, and then Devin Nunes, who is soul to soul apparently to the president. My issue is the hypocrisy of this whole thing. Like, if you were to turn on, I hate to say this, but if you were to turn on Fox, and this is a Democratic president doing this, they would be blaring the airwaves, blasting this with impeachment. So every Republican out there, when you're all for national security and country before party, which is what I thought we were as Americans, is it worth it? But is it worth it to lose your dignity? Is it worth it to lose your soul, to not even come out and say this is wrong? You don't have to say impeachment, but this is an abuse of power. This is not something we should stand by. Not everyone is there yet, by the way. Not everyone is saying that, which I struggle with.
Well, the thing that gets me, that I want to hear, because growing up, I grew up knowing you didn't do that. The American president did not talk to foreign leaders, did not do that, did not say, hey, listen, I need some dirt on my friend. Whether he offered him anything, you don't do that as the president. You don't do it. What I wanted to hear was everybody say, we all know that this did not go down well. American presidents, this is not what we expect. This is not what any of us, left, center, corner, whatever you believe, that's not the American president. That's not how the presidency works. If they had all started out with that and not with, this is ridiculous, because it's not ridiculous. Right. The whistleblower, as we heard him say, he did the right thing. He saw something, he thought it wasn't right, and he went. The thing that I was confused about in listening to him discuss all of this was he said, it didn't really affect us in the intelligence community. So I didn't feel that it was something I needed to take to Congress, which is why I went over and asked, is this the protocol? I think that's what confused everybody.
It was important for this guy, Maguire, to say that the whistleblower straight up was a responsible guy, because Trump is trying to make him as partisan. And that he was a Democratic operative, this whistleblower.
But we don't know.
Well, he said that already without even knowing who he was. But I have two words for that. Linda Tripp. Linda Tripp.
I don't know what that even means. But
well, she's going to explain it to you.
Well, can I just say really quick, because we are out of time and we're going to get our butts kicked because we keep going over time. Talking about bad Republicans, go read Ben Sass's statement, senator from Nebraska. Prudent, going exactly how I feel about this issue. I know, but there is one person speaking, and I think
more than one.
And there will be, listen, and when we get to the place where everybody says we all agree this behavior is not acceptable, then we'll get the presidency we need. When we all decide
the Republican Party's never going to do that.
I am never going to say never. I think Mitch McConnell, and I'm going to say this, Mitch was in shock. Because he said, listen, I didn't know there was a problem with the money going over there. Nobody talked to me. Yeah. And I thought, well, okay, Mitch, you out now too. I mean, he said, nobody talked to me. Every time he stops talking to people, they disappear. Very much like The Godfather. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Why did presidential candidate Andrew Yang come out in support for the SNL cast member canned for anti-Asian slurs? He's on The View. Next.
My father grew up on a peanut farm in Asia with no floor, and now his son is running for president. That is the immigration story that we have to be able to share with the American people.
Now! With promises of grand month for every American, Andrew Yang is definitely not your past president candidate. But his unconventional unconventional campaign seems to be paying off because he just pulled ahead of a whole bunch of candidates that weren't expecting it. I'm just saying, stuff's happening.
Yep.
Please welcome back Andrew Yang.
I'm excited.
They're going wild for you over there. That group over there is.
And over here, too.
Get these guys right here.
I mean, it is kind of fabulous. You know, you're polling as high as 8%. But not long ago, the Washington Post ran a very dismissive story about you called Random Man Runs for President. You know, I mean,
not very nice.
No, it wasn't very nice. And it really sort of pooped on the idea that every American can run for president.
Yeah.
You know, and it made it sound like that wasn't a good idea. So are you surprised now that a momentum is building and by the reception you're getting from folks?
I'm thrilled with the reception we're getting around the country. And I just like to point out there's no way a random man could run for president because the average American's living paycheck to paycheck, so it's not like they can quit their job and decide to run for office.
Don't take that.
I had a little bit of savings.
You had some savings.
Yeah.
And a very, very understanding spouse.
Also, for a random man running for president, you're actually polling higher than the senator in California, and you're also from California. You're polling higher than Kamala Harris in California. That is a pretty impressive feat at this point.
Thank you, Megan.
You're running. I love an unconventional campaign. I just do. You're not wearing ties. You're crowd surfing. By the way, Abby and I would like to join you at some point. It looked like so much fun. But you're reaching people who are not obsessed with cable news. Look at you. Not obsessed with Twitter. How have you gotten people, and how are you going to continue to get people who maybe don't know you as well as they do Biden and Sanders and Warren to check your name at the box?
I think we're doing so well, Megan, because we're talking about problems that Americans see around them every day. The fact that 30% of our stores and malls are closing because of Amazon, and Amazon's paying zero in taxes in return. And when I say that to Americans around the country, they see it around them. And the fact that we can build an economy that works for us, that vision will help address the problems that got Donald Trump elected in the first place. And Americans are very smart. We understand what's going on around us.
So you're having a ton of fun, and you've made it more fun for us, too, to watch, because campaigns aren't always fun and games. And for you, it always isn't fun and games. Bear with me. Last week, you came under fire by a former employee who worked for your testing company. This was back in 2007. She says after she came back from her honeymoon, you said she wouldn't work as hard because she started this new chapter in her life, and then you let her go. Where did this come from? Is there any truth to that?
There is zero truth to it, I'm happy to say. I've had so many phenomenal women leaders that have elevated me and my organizations at every phase of my career. And if I was that kind of person, I would never have had any success, which is right. I mean, I'm like most every other human being where if someone gets married, I'm happy for them.
So she made the whole thing up?
Yeah, she did, and it pained me when I saw it because I did work with her.
And she got fired?
And she did get let go, and it was because of absolutely nothing to do with her marital status, that's for sure.
Right. Okay. You're being very diplomatic.
Well,
about why she was let go, and that's all right. So let's.
No, I mean, I'm not here to, you know.
Of course not.
I mean,
let's go to this topic, though, because as a comedian person, I was interested in this story because you came out in support of Shane Gillis. This is a guy who they found in his past, not recent past, actually, that he'd made some anti-Asian remarks that were not funny, and they dumped him from Saturday Night Live, but you backed him up, and you're Asian. So tell us about that.
He actually insulted me personally. Used a racial epithet about me.
About you.
Individually. And so I reacted like most people would, which is like, what the heck is this? Who is this person? And then my wife and I settled down and watched some of his comedy and tried to figure out whether we thought he was evil or whether he was something else.
Yeah.
And watching his work, I thought that he was a still figuring it out comedian who told some offensive jokes. And that to me was not something that someone should lose their job over. And so as the person who was personally called out, I thought it was my place to say, look, I don't think this person should lose his job, and I was the person insulted. So we should use this as an opportunity to become a little bit more understanding and forgiving as a country, because right now we're in this time where we're, in my mind, unduly punitive and vindictive
and
about misstatements. And no sense of humor. I mean, he's a comedian,
so
too.
the comedy removal services are out there, you know? And the other thing about you that I like, I think you're funny because you do things like, you know, like you're wearing this thing that says math because you're Asian. It's like a stereotype. So he goes for it. And what else did you do?
And there's a math hat right there.
It's a math hat right now.
There they are.
I just want to say, math is an acronym. It stands for Make America Think Harder. And that's what we have to do. We have to let our fellow citizens know that it's not immigrants causing economic problems around the country. It's technology and automation. We're in the midst of the fourth industrial revolution. And we have to wake up to that set of challenges.
A lot of people don't think it's funny, though. You say, oh, I'm Asian, so I know a lot of doctors. I got it. I get it. But a lot of people don't get that. They think, you know, what is he doing?
But on the flip side, I was having dinner with a bunch of conservatives last week, and we were saying that you're the only person that seems like you're having a really good time out there. And to bring positivity and levity, especially in this moment, is something to be lauded, I believe.
I try to do it every day.
And you know, now since the last time you were here, I've been a little obsessed. I don't know if you heard about it. With
yes, she loves you.
With your proposals about universal basic income, a freedom dividend. So I had a conversation with a friend of mine who said, perhaps it shouldn't be a cash thing. Maybe it should be a dividend so that everyone gets, because he loves the idea. He just feels that we would all do better if we supported these companies that would begin to pay taxes. We support them because they need us to keep going. And you have a different groove. So is there room for it to blossom, this idea?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Okay, good.
Yeah, the Freedom Dividend, $1,000 a month, it's a new foundation for us all. We can do many things on top of it.
Yes.
And I talk about the work that my wife does at home with our 2 boys, one of whom is autistic. We have to build an economy that works for her and caregivers around the country. We have to start expanding the way. Oh, yeah, I miss them when I'm on the road, which is an awful lot. Thank you. But we have to redefine our own success because we have this GDP measurement that's driving us off a cliff while we're getting more anxious and depressed. And even our life expectancy is going down. So if we redefine our economic measurements to correspond to how we're doing and then lay a real foundation with this freedom dividend, then we can start moving in the direction you're describing.
I gotta ask this question. Why do you think no one on either side or in the middle has embraced this idea that companies that make their bones in our country should participate and help us participate in our growth? Why do you think the Republicans, the Democrats, the Independents, nobody is saying, hey, that is a great idea, and we should all be focusing on why did all these holes appear and suddenly nobody's paying taxes but us? I mean, why do you think that's not?
I think you know the answer, Whoopi, which is that our government's been bought and sold by these companies. And so if you have people whose money is beholden to various corporate donors or whatnot, then the last thing they want to do is call out how messed up a system we have. If $1 trillion tech company like Amazon can pay less in taxes than everyone in this room.
So you know you're not going anywhere right now, right? You stay right there. We'll be right with more with Andrew Yang.
My derm,
Yang, Megan.
Yes, thank you so much. Okay, so you joke a lot about math, but recent polls show that you are only one of 2 Democratic candidates who are actually getting 10% of Trump voters. That's very impressive. It's actually a really big statistic. What do you think you're gaining and what message you're giving that so many Trump supporters are coming to you?
Well, if you look, Donald Trump called out a lot of the economic problems and struggles in these communities. If you go out to the industrial Midwest, a lot of them have never recovered from the loss of manufacturing jobs. And we need a real set of solutions for that set of problems. But I'm thrilled to have 10% or more of Donald Trump voters who are supporting my campaign, because that means when I am the Democratic nominee, we win the whole thing in 2020.
Okay. So Nancy Pelosi has started, you know, the impeachment inquiry, and you didn't think it was a good idea. Why not? And Trump thinks that some people say that he's welcoming it. Do you think that's true, or is he just making that up, as usual?
I am on board with the decision to impeach Donald Trump.
Yes.
Because at some point, if you literally are calling foreign leaders and asking them for political help in return for releasing aid that Congress had already authorized, I mean, at some point you have to impeach and say, look, this is the right thing to do regardless of the political calculation. I do think the politics may or may not work out in the right way, but we're a country of laws. You have to enforce the laws.
Yeah, you think it could blow back on Democrats if it's not done?
Well, this is the trap. Anytime we're talking about Donald Trump is winning. And Democrats need an affirmative vision that people are just as excited about. Like, if the Democratic message is Donald Trump bad, impeach Donald Trump, then we're actually increasing the chances of him getting a second term.
All right, well, let's talk about one of your policies, because it's one of them that I love is very near and dear to your heart. Your 6-year-old son is on the autism spectrum. Talk to us about the impact he has had in your life and what this policy is.
Well, when my wife and I realized that he was autistic, it was actually a huge relief because we were first-time parents and we were struggling and we didn't know what was normal, what wasn't normal. I mean, we obviously are thrilled about our son, and we're getting him the resources that are allowing him to thrive. But when I looked around the country, I mean, my wife and I are in a very fortunate position. There are 2 of us, and I thought about single moms whom I've met on the trail who have autistic children who grow to be autistic adults. And what message I have for the American people is that atypical is the new normal. I mean, we all have someone in our family or circle that is neurologically atypical, and we need to build schools and systems that accommodate them at every stage.
What do you mean you were relieved? I don't get that. What were you relieved about?
Well, we were relieved because we were first-time parents, and when we were struggling with our son, or our son was struggling, we're like, are we terrible parents? Like, you know, what is
so
going
you were
on?
relieved to see there was an actual diagnosis.
Were in your same position?
Yeah.
I hear from so many people, and who knows, I have young kids. You never know what you're going to go through as a parent. It's so real that you're talking about that on the campaign trail because it's relatable.
You also have over 150 proposals on very specific issues like paying college athletes, eliminating the penny.
Yes.
Eliminate the penny. It's annoying. And government rewards for coaching Little League or fixing a neighbor's appliance. Some of these are funny. Are these the most pressing issues, do you think?
Well, I was introducing myself to the American people. I still am.
Yeah.
And I think the best way to introduce yourself is by letting people know what your vision is and what you would do as president. So that involves solving problems big and small. I want to ban robocalls. Why are we letting... I think these are real problems, and so if we have solutions at the ready, we should be talking about them.
The penny, though.
Leave my penny alone.
Uh-oh.
It's like moving Pluto. Leave the penny alone. Shouldn't have moved
I didn't know you were so attached to the penny.
I'm very attached to the penny because the penny was how I learned how to count.
Oh, yeah. I know. Well,
so I am attached.
But now that you know.
I'm still not good. So we have 45 seconds.
Oh.
So what we're going to say is, you know, congratulations on all your success, and we're going to continue to watch and, you know, hope that you are able to build the kind of momentum that you need to go into the next, what is it called? Phase.
Are you in the next Democratic
I'm in the next
debate?
I'm already in the next debate. I'm preparing some zingers. I'm not doing that.
No, you.
And then the next debate, too, it looks like we're going to qualify as well.
I'm glad. Thank you, Andrew Yang. We will be right back. Wars fans, and I have an announcement so epic I had to call in for some backup. Come on, you knew I was down with the dark side. You knew it was going to happen. So, I don't know if you know this, but Star Wars Galaxy's Edge is now open at Walt Disney World in Florida and Disneyland in California. And one lucky audience member is going to see it up close because we're giving away a trip for 4 to Walt Disney World. You'll be able to fly You'll be able to do all kinds of stuff when you get to Star World.
Are you guys ready for this? Whoopi's going to get in the win booth full of your seat numbers, and whoever she picks within 10 seconds is the winner.
Good God.
All right, ready?
Yeah.
From The Rise of Skywalker, Star Wars Jedi, Fallen Order, and The Mandalorian are available for purchase. And if you tune into StarWars.com today at 2 p.m. Eastern, you will get a first look. That's not all. Our audience, you are all going home with a Star Wars Black Series Sith Trooper action
We normally say we want you all to have a great day and take a little time to enjoy the view.
Good afternoon. I'm Laura.